10 years ago, I lost everything. Ended up in a hotel room with my wife and 4 kids. My wife and I lost our moms, bro. Like our angels on our shoulders, our biggest fans. We lost both our moms 6 months apart. I asked God, I'm dead serious, bro. I asked God, Lord, show me how to love this woman.
Hmm.
Because I didn't have the example as to what that looked like. We making all this money, we doing all that we doing, but yet and still we losing the time with our children,
Mm.
losing the time with our wives, who we claim was our wife. Guess what else I would lose? I would lose the respect for my sons.
Mm.
Is that worth losing the respect of your sons who gleaned to you their whole life? Is that worth you losing a woman who's been with you through thick and thin, all for that moment of gratification?
Rob, if I were to chat GPT you, chat GPT is like Google nowadays, right? If I
Uh
were to
huh.
chat GPT you, what would
Mm-hmm.
chat GPT say about Rob and who Rob is?
Great question. Great question. Ooh, that's good. Real estate entrepreneur, father, husband, man of God.
Mm.
Something along those lines is what's gonna describe Rob for sure.
Dude, so typically when people give those answers, they don't necessarily add in the man of God part. How
Mm-hmm.
how important is that to you, and what role does that play in your journey in entrepreneurship?
Everything, everything, brother. Um, so no, not to be a spoiler alert or get this talking about religion, but that's just my foundation, man. That's who I am. Everything that everything that I have today, everything that I've become, you know, um, is all God, man. It's all of God, none of Rob. That's what I say, man. When people try to, ask me the question of, how you've accomplished so much in so little time. I'm not the smartest man. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't have this great big, you know, education, all these degrees or anything like that, man. I really live my life dependent on God, and He's
Yeah.
my foundation. And so everything that I has, man, all is accredited to the Lord, man. Real talk.
Man, that's so dope because it's oftentimes challenging, I would say the least, and really this is a matter of perspective because you don't really attract what you're not looking for, right? And so there was a part of my life where I found it really difficult to find really successful, great entrepreneurs who were Christian, but doing it
Mhm.
at a good level, at a level that doesn't make it seem as if we're only working to pay our bills in that kind of way. You know what I mean? And so it's so great to hear that that was and is your testimony and things that's important to you, because I say the same myself, where when people ask me, dude, how did you do this so fast? I'm like, I wish I knew, man. Like this is a God thing, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
Um
man.
so that's pretty dope. Now, when it comes to your journey, you said like the things that you've been able to accomplish and people come to you. Why do they come to you, and what have you done in the entrepreneurship space?
Okay, so yeah, man. No, great question. Great question. So I mean, we've accomplished a lot, man. I mean, I've been in the real estate space now for a little over 19 years. I
Wow.
purchased my first investment property when I was 20. I just turned 40. You know
Wow.
what I mean? So I've been doing, investing now for some time now. I got into the investment space because it was my passion, man. I used to watch, this little those little flipping shows back in the day, man. I used to be intrigued by, them taking nothing and converting it into something that was just, it would blow my mind, man. And I would resonate with that. Like, oh my gosh, that's something I will, that's something I'm excited
Mm-hmm.
about doing. The teachers, and we were in school and stuff like that. What you want to be when you grow up? And truth to the matter is, I never knew the answer to that.
Mm-hmm.
I never knew the answer to that. So, like most, when I discovered real estate by seeing, and then my mom and them tapped into it too, because they ended up getting with working for an investor.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom said to me when I was about, she was working for this guy, and she was like, Robbie making all this money and they got all these houses, and you should go get your real estate license. You would be good at something like that. And I started hanging with my mom and my stepdad while she
Mm-hmm.
was around these real estate entrepreneur guys who was doing some really big things. So between that and the TV shows, man, I was very intrigued earlier on to the investment space. That's, I was drawn to it. You know what I mean? And yeah, now I have we closed 62 deals last year. You know,
Wow.
flip, yeah, 62 deals last year, man. I do a lot of fixing and flipping. I do a lot of creative financing deals, sub to novation agreements, owner financing. My whole portfolio was built utilizing creative strategies, owner financing, subject to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. 10 years ago, I lost everything. Ended up in a hotel room with my wife and 4 kids, to the
Wow.
point where, yeah, man, we came here, long story short, to Atlanta. When we moved here, the house we were supposed to move into fell through. So, long story short, we ended up having to move to a hotel room, and we ended up having to stay there a lot longer than what we planned.
Hmm.
And this come from somebody who had a business. I had a contracting business. I had a property management business. I told you I started flipping earlier. You know what I mean? And dude, I lost everything.
How
You know
how
what I mean?
how did you lose? How did you lose everything?
So leading up to me crossing over from Philly to Atlanta, I had a contracting business,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that contracting business was bleeding me out, dude. That thing damn near bankrupted me. Like,
Wow.
I almost went bankrupt. I'm telling you, I was robbing Peter to pay Paul, man. I had all these employees on board and on my staff, to where I was getting very heavily taxed. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? And employers tax and workman's comp and all that stuff you have to pay into. Until
Mm-hmm.
I learned the game, like, nah, you know what? We need to cut back on staff and put everybody on 1099s. They was literally up underneath my company.
Yeah.
So long story short, we just wasn't making enough.
Mm-hmm.
And every time I turned around, not not really knowing how to calculate my expenses versus my profit, I ended up losing a lot, man, in the process of it all.
Isn't
And
it
I ended up, mhm.
isn't it interesting that a lot of people they show their income, right, or their gross revenue, but not
Mhm.
understanding how to manage your expenses will send you bankrupt, and you could literally be making no money even though you've made $1 million, right?
Dude, you hit that one out the park. You can drop the mic. I see it so often. It's like people show they do it all the time, especially on social media. They show these
Yeah.
big checks,
Yep.
those wire amounts, but what they don't show you are the expenses that's
Mm-hmm.
associated
Yep.
with that check or that wire amount. It's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of expenses, man, that goes on, even in our world today.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not in brick and mortar how I was, but yeah, and still, there's a lot of expenses that's associated with our movement, right? Property management. I have assistants. I have people overseas that work for us. We have everything from cold calls. We have all these systems that we utilize to send out text messages and things like that, right? So all overhead is an expense. And if you're not properly keeping track as to what's coming in and what's going out,
Mm-hmm.
and you wasn't taught taught, especially in school, about finances,
Right.
about how to about profit and loss sheets and things like that, and how to make the necessary adjustments to make sure that you're in good standing, and how to
Mm-hmm.
audit yourself, right, to make sure that
Mm-hmm.
your company is actually making money. And we end up, a lot of us, man, we end up spending more than what we're making, and that's how we get in a position to where you end up having to go bankrupt.
Man, 100%, dude. And this was a lesson that my wife and I had to also go through from a understanding managing expenses and income, and you're generating a ton of cash, but when you look at your balance sheet, it's not balanced. You know what I mean? But
Yes.
you also talked about your wife and 4 kids being in a hotel because you also do these fix and flips with your wife, right?
Correct, correct. With my family,
With your family.
with my family, yeah. So we're a family-owned business. My wife is my wife. My oldest son, he works in the business. My oldest son, Jair. My second son, he just now went over to he's went to school, so he's in college right now. He's playing for the University of Delaware.
Nice.
He's over there playing college. That's his only focus right now. And of course, he's over there playing ball. And then my third son, Robert, he's in the business as well with us. And then
Mm-hmm.
he handles all my social media stuff. And then my youngest, he's 14. He's a freshman in high school, so that's his focus. But yeah, the whole movement is my wife and my kids, man.
Dude, so that's pretty darn cool because many times we're told to not do business with family and that type of
Yeah.
thing, right? Like, how do you make it all work? Let's start with your wife. All right, let's start with
Mhm.
your wife. What does that look like working with your wife?
Yeah, yeah. So my wife, man, my wife, she's my Ezer. You know
Mm,
what I mean? She's my Ezer. And what that means is like she's my strong rescuer. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like she's my better half, dude. Like she's my peace in the midst of my storm. So yes, we have an office space together, and a lot of people they look at that like, dang, you know what I mean? You live with your wife, y'all have the same office space together, y'all at these fix and flips together, y'all managing these teams together. Like how that works is just that's another part of God that He plays a major part in because here's the thing, right? I enjoy being with my wife. You know what I mean? Like I enjoy spending time with my wife. Like that's not only just my wife, but she's also my best friend, dude. You know
Bro,
what I mean?
was
I'm
it
not
was
like
it also was it always like that? Like where you guys got along and was able to work together and stuff?
no, no, we were. So me and my wife linked up early. Me and my wife been together 20 years, man.
Mm,
So I was been with my wife since I was 19.
wow.
So we've grown together. You know what I mean? My wife was just turning 17, I was 19, we were babies. And then here we are, we both came into the marriage with
Mm-hmm.
2 kids,
Mm.
into the relationship with 2 kids. So we was babies raising babies. And dude, no, we were horrible. We was a mess, man. Even our pastor back then was telling us, like, you trying to basically blend fire with fire. That's going to cause an eruption, man. That's going to cause an explosion. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Y'all both too hot-headed. We stayed arguing and we stayed break up just to make up. You know how I go,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, yeah.
To be honest with you, I think that we argued so much and got into so much drama earlier on
Mm-hmm.
that to this point where it's like it's out of our system now. And it's not that we don't argue. I'm dead serious. Like I'm talking, we're drained. It's to the point, man, we don't have the brain capacity to be, how we used young 20s. I would leave the house, I'd be gone for a week.
Jeez.
Maybe easy. Now my wife say something, you sleeping on the couch tonight? I'd be like, who's sleeping on the couch tonight? You gotta scoot on over. We can sleep
Yeah.
on a different, but I'm sleeping right here in this bed. You hear what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
no, it wasn't always like that, man. But time,
What do you think, do you think it was just time, or did you guys start, like, what brought about that change in your marriage where you guys could actually be partners and work together?
no, man. I think honestly, and let me plug this up real fast. You can't see because my laptop is here starting to drain, man. Let me plug
Yeah.
this in.
Yep, no worries.
Yep, I'm good. Okay. Um, so I told you about the part we grew up together, right? And my wife and
Mm-hmm.
I, our mission is so much greater than, you know, um, money. our vision and what the ultimate purpose of our what we're ultimately looking to accomplish is so much greater. So I think we've gotten to a point to where our why in the beginning, of course, it was, getting out the hood, man, getting moms in my house, getting our kids from around. I'm from North Philadelphia. I grew up around a whole bunch of senseless violence.
Mm-hmm.
I was a part of a whole lot of senseless violence. And when we made the determination that we want better, than the stuff that we were exposed to early on in life,
Mm-hmm.
and our kids, man, we were looking at those little boys, especially when my other two came. It was like the why became so much greater.
Hmm.
It became greater than just getting mom out the hood and getting mom a house.
Yeah.
Now it's like we need to get these boys up out of here too, and we need to basically get everybody stable to the point to where we can have something more than what we're accustomed to.
Mm-hmm.
Being poor our whole life, both of us. We were just from different spectrums of Philly. She was in Northeast, I was in North Philadelphia,
Mm-hmm.
right? So Northeast used to be like the suburbs to us. But then when I started hearing my wife's stories of some of the same trials and tribulations that she endured and faced in life, I'm like, damn, we're not too different.
Nice.
So in summary, it was just like the why, you know what I mean, became so much greater than our wants. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Dude, so you mentioned a few times, and I want to kind of zoom in on this a little bit. You mentioned your why, your mission, y'all's mission is so much bigger than money. And this is
Mhm.
typically something that when I speak to men, they don't have that mission, that purpose for their marriage and what they're working on. So, would you be open to sharing what that mission that your wife and yourself, you guys are working together on?
Yeah. So we're creating a bridge, man, creating a bridge for the youth and young adults.
Hmm.
You know, um, so growing up, I told you about, the senseless violence and stuff that I grew up around. I never had that person to come along and teach me financial literacy. I never had that person to come along and teach me and have that mentor to show me the step by step, the ABC 1, 2, 3 of the game of real estate.
Yeah.
So what we decided to do, and we came up with this a while ago, we're already active in it to where we're not only creating affordable housing, but we're also teaching young kids and adults financial literacy in the process of it
Mm.
all. You know what I mean? Because it's not taught in school, man. And a lot of us can save so much time, blood, sweat, and tears just by learning something as simple as balance sheets, right? Profit and loss. What's the difference? How
Mm-hmm.
to know when you're bleeding out as a company, how to forecast,
Mm-hmm.
or if you don't necessarily even have to know how to do it, but know enough to be able to keep an eye on your own money, but you could bring somebody else in that's smarter than you, that's specialized in that department,
Mm-hmm.
which I've done.
Mm-hmm.
However, know enough to where you're not, on no, your Steve Harvey or your Tony Braxton joint to where they making all this money and you're working, 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 but you still go underwater. You
Mm-hmm.
still lose everything multiple times. And a lot of the reason is because we never was taught this thing, this viable, this asset that we refer to as financial literacy.
Yeah.
We wasn't. So
Yeah.
that's one of the things that I'm big on, man. I'm creating affordable housing for young adults and kids, man. And we're doing it here in Atlanta. We're doing it back in Philadelphia, our hometown. And we've already started it in both places, man. Already kicked it off. It's up and running. Now, ultimately, just to bring real well home, we want to start putting big brothers and big sisters in the house of these. You know how we like how co-living is,
Yeah.
but put a big brother and big sister in those houses to where there's sessions that's going to
Mm.
teach them this stuff.
Yeah.
So it's not like, and then it's also going to be required,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean, to basically meet the requirements that's needed in order to stay at these places.
Dude, that's such a beautiful vision. And to have your wife be a part of that, not even only your wife and your kids. Like, I think that's so powerful, man. So when you guys came up with this vision and this plan, what did it look like getting to start to work in the business together and say, okay, here's what we're wanting to do. Are you the visionary? Is she the integrator? Like, what roles do you guys play when it comes to your business?
Great question, man. Great question. I don't expect nothing less from the great Kinston himself, man. Great Kinston himself. Hey, listen, that's a great question because here's what's crazy. My wife is a visionary. She's a
Mm,
visionary, and I am as well.
mm-hmm.
But she knows how to fall into place of being my integrator,
Woo!
right?
Talk about it.
She knows how to fall in place when it comes in regards to being my integrator, dude. To the point we have an assistant. We have a few assistants now. But my wife, man, when I tell you, dude, she's number one, she's wise as all get out. But not it's not just about her wisdom. She knows how to connect the dots. And I'm constantly on go mode, right? I'm going. I'm always on go.
Mm-hmm.
She knows how to say, all right, you keep running a race, you go. But I'm back here and I'm gonna make sure that the front, what I mean, the front line remains
Mm-hmm.
stable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So while you going and you embarking on these new journeys and these new revelations, I'm going to make sure that what we built, this infrastructure, remains sound. And
Mm-hmm.
she's great at making sure not only just the home base, but what people see me on social media and all that stuff doing, she's really the true movement. I tell her, that's why I say use this phrase, she's the move to my Met. Because she
Mm.
comes up with all these brilliant ideas that allow me to keep doing what I'm great at. And that's being out there. I'm thinking of, I'm always thinking big. I'm thinking we're on phase 2. I'm already thinking of phase 20.
Mm-hmm.
And she knows how to keep stability, not only within the workspace, but within our home. You know what I mean? Because we have teenagers now and older kids, right?
Yeah.
And they need a lot
Yeah.
of attention. They all at different crossroads, right? So she knows how while I'm here with you right now, things are still getting taken care of back at the forefront.
Right.
At the what I mean?
So
While I'm here with you, the business is still running.
So let's talk about that because some families have a really hard time. Well, they have a hard time working together in the first place. But
Mm-hmm.
the wife working in the business, but still running the home in that capacity. So let's talk about like y'all's roles and responsibilities at home. How do you guys what system do you guys have where you're able to be friends and lovers at home, but also business partners? Like, how does that switch work for you guys at home?
Yeah. So me and my wife, we spend a lot of our first portion of our morning in prayer, silence, and with each other.
Break that down,
That
bro. Break that down. What does that look like?
So no, I mean, I'm not trying to turn this into rated R, but what I mean, I'm still a functional grown man, right? My wife is like my wife is not about her just having a beautiful mind, beautiful heart. She's the most beautifulest woman in the world to me. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? So I spend that quality time with my wife a lot of time in the morning, and we ain't just talking about business. In fact, we don't talk about business.
Yeah.
It's us. That's that we time. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? That's that her time. She have needs just as much as I have needs. So
Mm-hmm.
even if it may be a morning, you know what I mean, or a night, or a middle of the day that I may necessarily not be in the mood for certain things, I know my wife may be in need of certain things, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Likewise, you know what I mean? Because here's the thing, right? And I know it's kids and stuff that
Bro,
watching,
you
think,
on the man cave talk, so you could say whatever you want. Let's
okay,
go.
okay, all right. So it's one of them things to where you hear it all the time: no work, no play. And I learned long ago that a lot of us, it don't matter how sexy you are, it doesn't matter how strong and long you claim to be or you are, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That my wife is a woman, she's a grown woman. So it ain't about no just going and just, You know what I mean? She needs to be mentally stabilized. Stimulated first.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And that's the thing. Like, are we still after maybe 3 years, 6 years, in my case, over 19 years, are we still having floor foreplay with our wives?
Hmm.
Or are we so busy doing the day-to-day activity, right?
Yeah.
The chase and rat race, right?
Yeah.
That something is being neglected. And I refuse for that to be my wife needs and her things that she needs to function on a day-to-day basis because she carries just as much weight as I do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So
So
what do you
we
guys do to, like, I talk about the degrees of separation in a marriage where you guys may have some mental separation or things that come up that causes mental separation, which is essentially having different philosophies about things. After
mhm.
19 years, you guys are doing the business together. Like, how do you keep those degrees of separation from expanding in your
Mhm.
marriage today?
And you say degrees of separation, meaning like in regards to the things that. Let me make sure make sure that I totally understand that question. She has certain things she like to do, and she need her personal time and personal space. I have
No,
certain things that I like to
no,
do.
no, no. I think in every marriage, there's always going to be that, right? We're still going to be individuals and things that we do, but and I'll tell you where the context of where my question comes from, because I
Mhm.
hear a lot of men and a lot of men that I speak to, they talk about growing apart from their spouse. They talk about growing apart from their wives. They talk about feeling disconnected, only talking about bills and schedule and work, and you're saying, like, man, I got to keep my wife stimulated. What
Mhm.
keeps you guys from growing apart in that kind of way? Like, talk to the brothers so that they all hear you as to what
Yeah.
you do in your marriage to keep it spicy.
Yeah. Keeping my first thing first, keeping God in the center.
Mm.
Keeping God in the center. And what that look like is sometimes it can be an argument, for instance. My wife will consult with God to deal with me before coming directly to deal with me.
Wow.
Likewise, I consult God as to like I can sometimes we can say things and it may be the wording, or sometimes the wording you think that it was right, but it just didn't come out the correct way, and that blows up. So
Mm-hmm.
it's been times keeping God in the center to where I've taken it to the Lord in
Mm-hmm.
prayer,
Wow.
and then she come back to me a day later, 2 days later. You know what, babe? Apologize.
Mm-hmm.
You you were right about that. Instead of us trying to be, I'm the man, or you gonna listen to me.
Yeah.
You gonna listen to me like, and that sound corny, but I'm dead serious. That's the recipe to baking this cake that we're referring to right now. That's the recipe.
Mm-hmm.
Keeping God in the center, right? And then here is important. A lot of men ain't gonna like this, right? But I believe in equality. My wife is not my slave.
Mm.
God loved her just as much as he loved me. So it's not about, you know, you cooking tonight? Oh, you ain't cooking tonight? What's wrong with your hands? What's
Hmm.
wrong with your feet?
Mm-hmm.
No, babe, take off tonight. I got it. You know what I mean? Wait, babe, you get some extra hours. I take the kids to school today. I got you. You know what I mean? I, babe, you know what? Instead of you going to go, handle that appointment, I step in because I just now had something canceled. I step in and handle that. Equality, right? It's like doing unto her the same way you would want her to do unto you.
Mm-hmm.
And, and God, keeping him in the center will direct you and give you guidance as to how that look, because it looks different for every man and woman.
Yeah.
But in our household, we keeping Jesus, man, in the center. And I'm even
Mm-hmm.
referring to God. I'm gonna give it exactly as Jesus. I'm keeping in the center, man.
Mm-hmm.
and he got a way in directing and guiding our paths that has and it sounds corny. And I'm not even exaggerating. I'm dead serious. We spend a lot of people, like you said, they're leaving the households. And that's one of the main enemy plans. They planning the enemy. Get the man out the house.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you're like, yeah, I got 4 boys. You know what I mean? I got 4 boys. Get him out the way. He didn't try to kill me 4 times that I can count. But him killing me would have, his mission was bigger than just getting me out the way. Is
Yeah.
I'm touching too many. Us just talking about what we talking about right now is he can't afford for this to get out.
Yeah.
Keeping God in the center,
Yeah.
biblical equality. What? You hear what I'm saying? Talking to guy, about certain stuff to be, huh? Yeah. And you'd be surprised the results you would get sometimes when we sometimes just shut our mouths, man.
Hmm.
Walk away, go to sleep, wake up,
Yeah.
pray with the guy and let that thing play out sometimes. And there have been times she's done that the same way.
Yeah.
I didn't like certain things way she was handling things. And I would kind of like, hold on, blow up. And what she said didn't come out the way she wanted it to come out for whatever reason. And I blew up or I said something wrong and I was wrong. But
Mm-hmm.
I didn't feel I was wrong at the time because we were in the
Right.
heat of the moment.
Yeah. 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 And so how do you deal with your emotions in that kind of way? Like, do you feel like you have the space to share your emotions, not blow up, but to articulate how you feel naturally, or have difficult conversations? Like, how does that kind of come about in your home?
That's good. Yeah. Lack of communication. So here's the thing. Relationships just don't go wrong. They go wrong because of due to lack of communication.
Yep.
You follow what I'm saying?
Yep.
So me and my wife are very vocal. That was a lot of the reasons why we used to fight a lot when we were young.
Yeah.
We're very vocal. My wife is partially Spanish. She's Puerto Rican.
Mm.
I mean Puerto Rican Italian. Like she got a
Oh,
mouth
that
on
says a
her, boy.
lot.
Yeah, yeah, she got Italian and Puerto Rican in her, so she would be real, with the mouth, right?
Yeah.
And I am North Philadelphia, you know what I mean? Just been raised a certain way all my life. You hit me, I hit you back. You know what I mean? You kill my cat, I kill your dog type of mentality.
Mm-hmm.
So you got two people coming together from two different spectrums of the world, but we learned on early on communication is the key. I need for you to express your emotions to me. I need you to tell me when I'm not um maybe satisfying you in certain ways. How can I, how can I get better in those areas? Those was the conversations we had earlier on.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we continue to go back and be in a place to where, let's just say, hypothetically speaking, you could be good looking, you could have all the muscles, right? You could be told the whole life that you was all this in bed and all that. But what if your wife, when y'all having an intimate session or being intimate with each other, she's not exploring the same experiences that you're exploring?
Mm-hmm.
Or she's not, I'm sorry, experiencing the same gratification that you're experiencing.
Yeah.
Conversation would need to be had early on in a relationship because a wife nor a man can keep, you see what I'm saying? Like, we not kids, man. It ain't
Have
about
you
bam, 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 thank you, ma'am.
right? Have you guys ever had to have some of those intense conversations?
I'm gonna tell you, man, we've had way intense conversations that because here is the thing. I had to ask God early on. I always had like the type of guy to where when I was younger, remember because I met my wife earlier on, so when I was younger, it was like the baddest, once you get them, turn to the average. And I always had that problem to
Mm.
where I'd be on to the next, on to the next, next. I just couldn't be
Yep. Yep.
committed to anyone. So when I met my wife, it was deeper than just a physical connection. She was able to stimulate me mentally as
Mm-hmm.
well and challenge me in ways that I never been challenged.
Mm-hmm.
So I banged with her. I'm like, the way I'm feeling this girl. So what I Dude, I'm dead serious, man. At 19, 20 years old, because we was friends for 2 years before we actually even went into
Wow.
dating and getting into a relationship. Because we both used to do music and things like that, but that's a whole nother story. I asked God, I'm dead serious, bro. I asked God, Lord, show me how to love this woman.
Hmm.
Because I didn't have the example as to what that looked like.
Mm.
Show me how to, you know, love this woman the way that she deserved to be loved and not just treat her like another piece of whatever on a, you know what I mean, on a shelf.
Mhm.
And when I tell you, bro, the love that I have for my wife today and what has gotten us through into 20 years later is that God type of love. I love my wife unconditionally. Not when she's just looking good. Not when she, not when she just have on the, the best outfit. I tell my wife, I'm dead serious. God is my witness. I'm like, before the song with Drake came out, you look better without the makeup and the t-shirt. You know what I mean? No makeup, t-shirt on. I've been telling her that. Skip the makeup,
Yeah.
girl. Just natural beauty and my t-shirt on. You are like, what? Who's the baddest to
Sexy.
get? Whoever,
Yeah.
who?
No,
That's
I
it.
said
I'm
super sexy.
sexy, man. You
Yeah.
sexy. And, like I just feel as though that was a God's gift to me, man, because
No,
that's just something that I had another experience growing up.
that's really dope, man. And you've mentioned some really key things. The main thing being God, right? Keeping a God centered mind, God centered home, and just allowing God to teach you how to love your wife. Has there ever been a time where the pressure, stress, whatever in the home is just built up so much that you kind of felt or struggled with temptation on the outside?
Hmm. Not in years, man. Not in years. And I know a lot of people, and I know it's a lot of men on the other side of this. I'm like, man, that's BS. I'm dead serious, man. Yes, you may be, driving or out somewhere where somebody walked past you and that spirit of lust catch your eye, right?
Right,
Because
right.
of whatever the outfit the young lady is wearing, or the woman, the lady is wearing, whatever. But for the most part, as far as temptation of cheating on my wife or doing anything that can that can basically put me in a position to where I can lose that,
Yeah.
bro, it ain't nothing. It ain't no woman. I don't care. Name the baddest who they say in the game right now. It ain't nothing worth that because it's not. I told you it's deeper than just when you got a woman, bro, that has been with you through everything, my guy. I'm
Mm-hmm.
talking about from my first business, which was a water ice stand. She was out there scooping the water ices with me.
Wow.
From being broke in a hotel room, her telling me, baby, it's gonna be all right. From her saying, you keep running the race, I'm gonna go get the job. You keep running your race.
Mm.
Nah, babe, I gotta get the job. We dead, bro. You ain't going back to no 9 to 5. We didn't came from all this for you to go back to another. No, I go get the job. You keep running your race, bro. And I'm watching Dad going pop the balloon. Let me tell you, I don't know if you know what that is, but I would tell you, I wouldn't have it this day and time, bruh. You hear what I'm saying?
Oh
These women got
man.
daggone things within their checklist, and I'm gonna tell you, I'm not the guy for it. So it's like, no, bro, like that's my friend, that's my homie. And
Mm-hmm.
when why would I want to hurt my homie like that? Why would I want to hurt my friend, my wife, my queen, the mother of my kids? The way she loved my kids, she loved in a way that she has the big. And it's not. And here I'm talking about the love part because it's more than just attraction. Yes, I'm just as attract. I'm a she's sexy, all that. But
Mm-hmm.
the way she loved, you can't find this nowhere. And I would be a fool to jeopardize that at the outcome or the gain anything. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it would. You know what I mean? I would lose everything in the process. And guess what else, bro? Guess what else? I forgot to mention this part. Not only because my wife, she's not that. She's not, you know what I mean, that better woman that's just like, oh well, she been with me broke. She been with me now that we're financially in position. She been with me since so we grew up. We grew up with each other. But guess what? Guess what else I would lose? I would lose the respect for my sons.
Mm.
See. The thing about it, we out here talking about, about that me stuff and that moment of gratification. But let me tell you something though. Is that worth losing the respect of your sons who gleaned to you their whole life? Is that worth you losing a woman who been with you through thick and thin that will literally lay her life down for you, all for that moment of gratification? And if the answer is yes, then maybe you just ain't in love the way that I'm in love, and that's cool.
Right. Right.
That's
Some
cool.
some guys are just greedy, man. Some guys are just
Self-centered.
thirsty, extra thirsty, right? No, but
Mhm.
bro, I think I heard this, and I think it was Rockefeller who said this. He said, people who don't experience misfortune are unfortunate, right?
Mm.
And what he means by that is, if you don't go through some hard times, you really don't get the sense of appreciation for the business or yourself or each other. Because like
Mhm.
the things that really connected my wife and I, they were hard times. It was like when she lost her mom, that we seen significant growth in our love when she lost her mom. And it sounds crazy because it's like nobody's hoping or thinking that those are the
Mm.
things, but
Wow.
it's when you really got to be there, right? When you got to be there and you're going through something. When she was having our daughter, and that process, like all of these different things where we had to become even more of a team, were the things in our marriage that really brought us together, that continues to solidify the times and the things that people see on the outside. They see the good post, but they don't understand the work that we have put in to be able to have the smile that we have with each other. And what I hear you saying, when her being there when you guys were broke, and going through the process of saying, no, I'll get the job, you go to work. It sounds like that was the same process that you guys went through, where you now have a level of appreciation and gratitude and love for this human being who also served you and eh, she submitted to the mission, right?
Mm.
And people hate the word submission, but I see it as sub to the mission, right?
Mm.
And when you're
Mhm.
sub to the mission, it's not a me or you, it's whoever needs to do the thing to make sure that we move the mission forward. That's who's going to go above or beneath. Like, sub to the mission. And I hear your wife exemplifying a lot of those traits, and the passion that you have for her is shown based on a lot of those things, brother. So, man, so
Mm.
so 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 good, bro. So good.
Bro, power. Words of power, bro. Bro, every word spoken were words of power. I can so I so much resonate with what you just said. Check this out. I don't know if you noticed, right? My wife and I lost our moms, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Like our angels on our shoulders, our biggest fans. Both of our moms, bro, were active in our
Wow.
lives.
Mm-hmm.
They were our cheerleaders, our coaches, our mentors, our advisors. They were our everything. We lost them. We lost both our moms 6 months apart. 6 months apart, my guy. So check this out. I lose my mom first, right after a fight, of stage 4 cancer, and my wife at a time to where my legs that I stand on, I could no longer collapse. I could no longer stand, bro.
Wow.
I'm talking physically, mentally, you know what I mean? I was done. Sometimes we as men and women just need somebody to come and just hold our arms up, bro, when we ain't got nothing left.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have somebody to come along and say, throw your arm over their shoulder and they carry you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? They carry you, bro, in love and in just and here is the thing. When months later, when my wife mom passed, we didn't even see that coming.
Hmm.
What happened when y'all both is in a position of weakness?
How did you
This is
guys
where that God
navigate that?
hit.
Mm.
Here we go. Here is where that keeping God in the center thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because when physically y'all not able to carry each other, when mentally y'all not able to uplift each other, God say, okay, now, yeah, let me come in and do God things.
Wow.
Let me come in and be God. And guess what he did? He carried us both.
Wow.
You dig
Wow.
me, bro? Like, I'm not speaking on no stuff that I heard from somebody else. I'm not speaking on some words of just trying to inspire people. I'm talking about what I lived.
Mm-hmm.
My mother-in-law and my mom died back to back, bro, like that. You know what type of trauma that can bring on to a person? Man, God came in and showed me one of the greatest. I knew God, just like you talk about. I knew my wife. I knew
Mm-hmm.
God, but not in a way. My love for him and my desire for him, my yearn for him became so much greater when he came in and just scooped us both up and said, "Y'all can now let me do God things."
Wow.
You hear me?
Bro.
So, and when you go through that type of stuff that you just, that's why I said what you just spoke, man, was words of power. Because men need to hear that it's deeper than just that temporary, like we talked about gratification earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Really, what it's done is it's self-centered, man. A lot of people are self-centered, and I ain't self-centered. I mean, I ain't self-centered. Talk about I pay the bills and I make all the money. No, bro, you deceived.
Mm-hmm.
You hear what I'm saying? Because if
Mm-hmm.
if we're making all this money, right? We making all this money, we doing all that we doing, but yet and still we losing the time with our children,
Mm.
losing the time with our wives, who we claim is our is our why. We
Right.
claim that's our why,
Claim.
but
Air quotes.
we it's so lame. But you meaning to tell me that you have to go out of town and for whatever reason, one night some little caught your eye, and the woman who held you up, the woman who birthed your kids. Did you see your kids when you watch your kids come from
Yeah.
your wife?
Yeah.
You were born,
Dude.
bro. Talk about that. Just I want to
It's it's
talk to me about that.
so I have a 14-year-old son, and he is from a previous marriage, right? That didn't
Okay,
work out for that's a whole different podcast, right? But I
okay.
was there to see, and I cut his navel cord as well, but he was done through a C-section, right?
Mm,
With
mm-hmm,
my wife. So we were in and out the hospital because that was scheduled. We pulled up, did the
mm-hmm,
C-section, and we was out of there, right? With my wife, she did natural. And bro, the process of doing natural and being in partnership of helping my wife through the entire process, bro, helping her push, holding her legs, just being a part of the entire thing. Like, hey, I see the head, keep going, like you got this. And just being in the room to support, bro, the level of appreciation and love that
mm,
I have for my wife and have from my wife and also extended to other women was just 10x. Just like just 10x, bro. That
yes.
entire experience of watching my daughter come out and the type of pushing and pressure that she had to endure, bro.
Mm.
Like it's the words of appreciation, the words of love, the words of gratitude, of everything. I cannot express. Like I literally just today went out when I told you that I was on the road before getting started.
Mm-hmm.
I went out to buy her a just a card, a
Mm-hmm.
regular card, just to say, hey,
Yeah.
I see you,
Yep.
and I appreciate you, and a
Yeah.
$25 Sephora gift card. Nothing,
That's it. Yeah.
nothing
That's it.
crazy, but it's random thought just because I'm like, man, I'm so grateful
That part. That part.
on
That
a
part right there.
on a random Tuesday.
But to them, it spoke to your wife, to your queen. It spoke volumes.
Yeah, I haven't even given her it to her yet, bro. Like
You haven't even-
I haven't even.
it's going to speak volumes. And
Yeah.
as you do, it's not the, the first time you've done it. Just when you do little things like that, my wife, I bring my when I go like I come, I can't remember, bro. Like I don't think I've gone at least a month without bringing my wife home flowers. My wife loves flowers.
Mm-hmm.
She loves. I call her my Spanish flower, right? And that's the nickname I have for her because she's always loved flowers.
Yeah.
So even when I leave town and come back, from out of town, the first place I stop, you know what I mean, the flower shop. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Because I know when she see me, we've been gone for a couple of days from each other like that. Like to see those flowers in my hand, it's just like that's just our language. That's our
Mm-hmm.
love talk. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's like he missed me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He brought me my flowers. It's nothing. It's one of the things she never got tired of. She
Mm-hmm.
loves, and she switched up colors. She used to love the dark pink joints. Now, white is her flower, her color now. So I'm in the white now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I like white flowers now. I like the white flowers, babe. All right, cool. I'm gonna get you some
Yeah.
white flowers. And then I hear her right. Then I let a couple days go by. Then next week I come in with some white flowers. He heard me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He heard
Yeah.
me. So it means all, dude. It speaks volumes to what you just now touched on, brother. It speaks volumes, man.
It's
No, man.
the love that you share with your partner, because that's one of the things a lot of brothers come to me about and ask me, like, hey man, how do you and your wife do it? How do you guys work together? How do you guys and I had to really intentionally work it, bro. Like
Mm.
I had to work it. My wife and I, we got married after 6 months of meeting each other.
Oh wow.
After 6 months, and so we met each other on Match.com. We met each other. I had just gone through. So I've been divorced,
Mm-hmm.
and I was in a relationship with a young lady for a while, and she had just given me back my ring. I was engaged to be married, and she had given me back my ring. And
Yeah.
so now, I mean, I used to be a wild guy. I used to be a really wild guy, and I used to be a DJ, international
Yeah, I was
DJ.
ready to say that.
That
I done my research on you, bro. I've been following your movement. I done
that
my research. I heard
so
about that.
so I used to be a wild dude, bro, and I remember when things just changed for me, and I wanted to be a different guy, a different man, and it was a few months after that young lady gave me back my ring. I felt like God was challenging me to trust Him with my heart
Mm-hmm.
because of what I've been through with my first marriage. I had put my heart in an icebox. And
Mm.
that young lady got a lot of the brunt of my icebox heart, who I was with for a period of time. And so in me choosing work, choosing like just like let's just put it in all in work,
Mm-hmm.
we we broke up. We broke up. She
Mm-hmm.
gave me back my ring, And when I met my wife, I started hearing similar things that the previous two ladies used to say. And I'm like, I'm not going to let this one go.
Mm.
Because we were right there, right at the edge. Because I had my business. I used to have a Amazon business at that time, and
Mm-hmm.
and I couldn't lead. I couldn't lead her in the right way. She jumped in the business. She was helping me, and I started pushing her to get things done. And I heard her say one day, like, "Hey, this isn't my dream. This is yours." And that hurt me so much, bro, which was also similar to things that some like my previous people that I was with said before I decided to leave. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't want to let this one go. And because I realized that it was me, I was the common denominator. And so
Mm-hmm.
I stopped my business. I was doing over 30K a month selling on Amazon. Stopped the business. I'm like, stop it. Got off of social media for 2.5 years, brother.
Whoa.
Dead to the world. Just me and her, working on me, working on her, like, and how we work together. Just trying to understand. This was when I was tapping into God on a different level, bro. And I
Mm.
really became that man of God that people see today. It started a little before my wife, but when her and I met, that really did it, bro. When I just went dark and started working on myself, working on our relationship, because I didn't know how to love. I didn't know how to do a lot of things. And it was that 2.5 years that really, 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 really changed things in me. Where my wife used to tell me, dude, you got to be more gentle. I'm like,
Mm.
gentle? What's that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I know the word, but what does that really mean to being
Yeah.
gentle? You know?
Mm-hmm.
And so I had to really kind of let go of a lot of ego things that I had from my Caribbean culture, things that were just um I mean straight up cultural, straight up sexist, straight up like,
Mm-hmm.
like gender classification things,
Yeah.
and I
Yep.
had to
Yep.
just divorce the idea of what we've been taught all of our lives and create a new culture with my wife, man. And it was going through that period of time that we spent together, and then just continuing on, and it was coming out of that when we started real estate, and when everyone started to be like, man, how are you guys moving so fast? This is
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
And I laugh because they think it's fast, but they haven't seen the sacrifice and all
Yeah.
the work that went in private. They just seen the results in public,
That part.
and so when people ask me how I do what I do, one of the questions I ask them, I'm like, are you willing to give up the thing that you worship now, which is your business, to really understand your wife?
Mm. Brother, one of the things I first of all want to acknowledge you on, man, is that before we even had a chance to really sit down, break bread with each other like we're doing right now, I want to just say to you, man, that your name, the credibility that your name hold, your character, who you are as not just a man, but as a husband, as a leader, as a man of God, speaks volumes, bro.
Appreciate
Bro, you are really setting the bar. And I love sitting here talking to you now and hearing more about, because I'm the type of person I know once we was going to do this thing, of course you do more of your research on, but I've heard your name echo throughout the Sub 2 community, and everybody that I speak with, no exaggerations, no exaggeration, they speak highly of you. Everybody that I've spoken to, in fact, we get me and you because of the muscular thing. Keston, you know, you from you from Atlanta, Keston. That's what people ask me, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I could tell y'all. Yeah, man, y'all both. You know what I mean? That's what I'm telling you, dude. I'm talking about the Boston retreat. I'm part of Owners Club too.
yeah,
Boston retreat, Arizona. Everybody that speaks of you, man, speaks so highly of you on how you're a go giver, how you're a leader, and how, man, just your heart, bro, your heart. And hearing you talk right now, man, um, it basically is just it exemplify who you truly are and what people see without you having to say, look at me, without you having to, try to be like the next this person or that person. You just being yourself, and here is what's happening. You are creating and blazing a trail, brother. You're a trailblazer. You're blazing a trail, man. And in the process, you said you went off of social media for 2.5 years. And in the process, you went and worked on yourself and your
hmm
relationship, your relationship with your queen. But look at the lives you're changing, man, in the process of you just being you.
yeah,
You changing lives, and you setting the bar, and you're trailblazing from you just being you. You dig what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah, man.
Want to just tip my hat off to you, man, and just acknowledge, man, the man that you are, the leader that you are, man. I would have a lot of respect, man, for you before I even had a chance to really sit down with you now and having this conversation with you. Even now, I'm like, I see why everybody love this man. You know what I mean? Like, this dude is
I
amazing.
appreciate it, bro.
And every time we met, bro, it just, it was obvious.
Yeah,
Like, you know what I mean? A lot of people, especially, when you meet a lot of people, but you was just yourself. You know what I mean? You was just a thoroughbred, man. And I just was like, that's somebody who, I can shake hands with. That's somebody I can break bread with. That's somebody I want to be in the room with, because it's not even about what he's saying about himself. Because you want to see the brokest guy, the most self-centered guy in the room. Is usually the loudest.
yes,
You know what I
sir.
mean? Is
Yes,
usually the
sir.
loudest, man. But I tip my hat off, man, to what you're doing, and the trail, the blaze, the trails you're blazing, brother, in the process, man. Keep doing what you're doing, man, because we need more people like you,
Yes,
like
sir.
me, not afraid to talk about this stuff that we're talking about.
Yeah,
You
man.
dig what I'm
And
saying? You talk about the cultural thing. That was deep, man.
oh yeah, dude. I literally had to divorce my culture. My culture um was the thing that kept me stuck. And it doesn't mean that I don't have things from my culture that I still appreciate, but the ideology and how we would treat women, how we would, especially like being a DJ, like the music, all of the concepts, brother. It's down to not like you as a man, you don't wash your wife's your wife draws. Like that's not something you
Mm-hmm.
do as a man, right? You
Mm-hmm.
don't go buying feminine products. Like all of these
Mm-hmm.
things that to me is just now stupid. Like,
Mm-hmm.
bro, why not? Who created these rules?
Who created this stuff?
Who,
Who made
bro?
this up?
Like I have no idea because, bro, when my wife and I really started to put things on the table, what we realized was I enjoyed washing. She enjoys folding. She don't really enjoy washing. I enjoy washing the dishes and cleaning up. She don't enjoy doing that stuff. So guess what? Don't do it. I'ma
Mm-hmm.
do it. And bro, we used to fight so much over things that nobody even liked, but it was such a gender classification that I wanted to keep up. I
Mm.
had to check myself, bro. I'm like, what am
Dang.
I doing?
Bro, I resonate with that so much because think of it from this perspective, right? I always use this example. Tarzan was a man. Tarzan, right? He was a man, but yet and still, he beat on his chest. He would jump from trees. He walked around with no clothes on. He did everything that his family, who he was raised by, would
Mm-hmm.
do. He carried himself in act like a gorilla because he was raised by what? Gorillas,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So so when you talk about cultural, right? When you start talking from the cultural perspective, I can resonate with that a lot because not that everything mom, grandmom, and all them passed down was all wrong, but who to say that it was all right?
Yeah. That part.
You dig what I'm saying? Who to say that everything was right? So what happens is when like Tarzan start seeing that, hold on, I'm more than just, you know what I mean? You know, wait a minute, I'm this guy over here when he met the girl that clothes. Okay, let me try that. You
Yeah.
see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh, why he walk? He walk like that. Okay, he look like me a little bit. Let me walk like that. So what
Yeah.
happens is this what happens, right?
Yep.
When likewise, when we start doing stuff like doing our own research, start opening up a book, let's say, right? And
Uh-huh.
we start seeing things that we've been told our whole life. Uh money don't grow. Cut them daggone lights off, boy. Money don't grow on trees.
Mm-hmm.
Wait a minute. And I know a little bit more about it. They actually do. You know what I mean? He told stuff like God only helped those who help themselves. Bible, Bible didn't say that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
Crazy.
sorry, Pops, but Benjamin Franklin said that. You know what I mean? Money is the root to all evil. Money is the root to all evil. Then everybody up in this joint is evil. Then
Yeah.
you dig me? It don't need to say that, Grandma. I'm no, respectfully, it don't say that. It say the love
Mm-hmm.
of is
Mm-hmm.
the root to all evil. So you see what I'm saying? When you start putting things into perspective,
Yeah.
it's like now you come back. Tarzan, first thing when he discovered that he was a man and not an actual gorilla, what happened when he went back? His family, his first thing is wanted that his brother wanted to challenge him. His brother beat him down,
Mm-hmm.
and his family black sheeped him. Right. So
Yep.
what happens is that's when the he think he better than us. Tarzan coming up in here, you coming up in here with clothes on your back, shoes on your feet, or you think you better than us now?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we get. Because I don't look at, and thank God I didn't listen to some of this stuff because when I was growing up, the more women you had, the more popular you was.
Hmm.
Shoot, I had the guys we was calling out old heads who truly was just a couple years older than us. you know, I'm 11, 12 year old. You get your beat wet yet? Well, get your beat wet yet? Huh? Pop this 40.
Yeah.
Huh? Puff that. Take that.
Yeah.
So what happens is when you get away and discover that it's more out here. And I'm not judging y'all. I'm not judging nobody, but I got to experience new things. And
Mm-hmm.
unlike a lot of people, refuse to be enslaved to tradition and a traditional way of thinking that's been passed down a lot of times from family,
100%.
friends.
Yep.
You
Culture.
know what I
It's
mean?
it's
So
it's
culture, man.
it's so devastating what it does because I've seen so many people try to be better husbands and
Mm.
they couldn't because of culture. They tried, they did, and what most people fail to realize that giving up some things of the culture doesn't make you a sellout. You see what I mean? It doesn't make you a sellout. And there's this deep desire to be faithful to your culture that is so hard to let go. And I'm from Trinidad, right? And
Mhm.
in my culture, carnival is it. Like we grew up
Yeah.
and carnival kind of runs Trinidad. But
Hmm.
although my parents were always in the church and all that type of stuff, it was still around. You can't avoid being around carnival in Trinidad.
Mm.
And as a kid, just being a part of it and being around it to me represents sex. Is that the
Mm.
real meaning of carnival? No, it ain't.
Hmm.
But when you see a young lady in bikinis and tongs and is dubbing, whining in the middle of the streets with feathers on, and they're coming up to you drunk and they just want to rub on you and dance on you, and like what's being painted on the image of your mind?
Oh yeah.
You
Oh
got
yeah.
no choice but to be
Oh
like,
yeah.
because you don't even need to really go far to imagine. You're already giving me the full picture.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Why?
Right?
You know what I mean? Why? Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
so to me, I'm like, I can't be around this if I'm trying to change my life. If I'm trying to be more of a man of God and do things a certain way, where I gotta protect my mind, protect the things that come into my mind. I can't, like, I don't want to listen to this music. I don't want anything that reminds me or even makes me want
And,
to
yeah.
even be infatuated or think about that stuff.
Yeah.
And
And
people
you
thought
gotta
that
know this.
that
You gotta
part.
know your limitations, bro. You gotta know your limitations. Like, I'm not about to be an ex-alcoholic, you know what I mean, going out with my homies to a bunch of bars.
Don't
You
make
dig what I'm saying?
sense.
At the end of the day, like you talked about earlier, right? It's like you would be a lie to sit up here and say that, you know, we used to have the Greek. So you talk about the carnival, we used to have something back in Philly called the Greek. You know what I mean? And man, they turning up, chicks outside the cars, they damn near naked, all that, right? So it's like I'm not even going to put myself in certain places, around certain places, people, and things, because at the end of the day, I'm still a man, and ain't
Yeah.
nobody exempt. I don't care how holy of thou you think you are, bro. Even to go back to that question you asked me when I talked about God being in the center, yes, that's a practical. That's one of the practical things we do. But that's one of the second things which you just touched on. I stay away.
100%.
Stay away.
Yeah.
I'm not about to go into no jointski with my boys when I know that I used to have a problem with commitment when I was, you know what I mean, young. Why am I going to put myself in that situation to even see how far I've come? Let's
Right.
see how strong you really are.
Right.
And like you said, it's impossible. You know, you go to somewhere, I mean, check all up in your face, and look, you still a man at the end of the day.
You are.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Why even put yourself in that position? I take my behind home.
Yes, sir.
And
Yes,
I said
sir.
I don't hang with my boys. Like I want to hang with like-minded individuals. I don't want to hang with the guys, man. Respectfully, and I'm not even respectfully. I'm cool. I you when I meet men, I thought when I got to Atlanta, I was like, this is Wakanda, boy. Like these boys really want me. Until I started getting in the room with them and seeing how they talk about their wives and stuff that they was doing. And I'm like, man, y'all ain't no different from how, you know what
Yeah.
I mean, my boys in the role in Philly. Now, not all of them, because I met some guys, man, they honor, they cherish, they love their wives, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I met
Yeah.
some guys,
Yeah.
they love their wives here, you know what I mean? And but when back where I was at, like, if you wasn't doing the thing that was the thing, then something was wrong with you. So you would
Exactly.
the thought was in your mind as to, well, What will they think? If I get married, I'm only 25 years old. She talk about marriage because my wife got to a point where she's not even willing to, looking to have sex no more out of marriage. She like, yo, I'm at a point where I'm locked in. I'm like, we gonna do this thing. We gotta do this thing for real. Like my wife, I was 25, 24 when I got engaged. We got married when I had just turned 26. And my wife was just like, I'm done. I'm done having all. Matter of fact, no, I'm sorry. I was 25. We got married within that year. And she was like, I'm done with all that.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, that what they gonna think? I'm 25. I'm still a young man. I got all this living still to do. You know what I mean? Well, maybe I could still, you know, one foot in, one foot out. You know, and it's like when you start thinking now as a man, as a 40-year-old grown man, I'm like, who the heck were they? Bro, who were they? Who are they?
Yeah. Yeah.
They ain't paying my bills.
Nope.
Them ain't sleeping with me at the end of the night.
Nope.
Them ain't rubbing my back and cuddling with me and snuggling with me and in between them sheets at the end of the night. Them ain't the one holding my arms up when I'm weak and I'm broken, broke, busted, and disgusted. Those ain't the ones that's gonna hold me, you know what I mean? That's telling me it's gonna be okay, we gonna make it. Who
Yeah.
are
Nobody.
you dig me, bro?
Yeah.
And one more thing too, I wanted to touch on too. That's another thing when you tapped on, you was like, what's some of those things? My wife, when I said we vocally, commute, like we're very vocal. We
Yeah.
communicate with each
Yeah.
other. One of the things my wife used to always, my wife, she loves to snuggle,
Mm-hmm.
and she loves me to be affectionate. You know, what I
Mm-hmm.
mean, she loved showing her affection.
Yeah.
So what happened was I was like you see you touched it and it was like you touched on something. You was like you were very like hard. You know what I mean? Your wife
Yeah.
like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Me growing up from where I grew up from, back to the Tarzan analogy, this is how I grew up. So I wasn't used to people showing me affection, like, you know what I mean, and giving
Mm-hmm.
me hugs and me wanting to cuddle with her at the end of the night without wanting to be, physical
Yeah.
and an intimate section with
Yeah.
sexual
Yeah.
section with her, right? It's like, could you just hold me? Can we snuggle without you wanting
Trying
to
to
do
get
all
up.
that? Can we
Yeah.
with me, right? Yeah, can you just snuggle me? And I'm like, I never dealt with that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
So
and
yeah,
and
man,
and
like I
it's really
said,
the
man.
just the evolution of becoming a man, becoming a man that really is able to be in tune with your emotions and really just
Mm,
create a space that is not
mhm.
predicated on other people, man. You
That's
know,
it. That,
that
mm,
is the main thing. And just always kind of striving for me is to just be more emotionally healthy, where I could love on my wife and give her the best life possible, um, and my family, give my kids a healthy father, give my wife a healthy husband in my responses. That my goal is to be more like Christ every day, man. And
mm,
once I could continue to work towards that, and I realized that a part of the journey with being able to get closer to doing that requires me to deal with emotional trauma and things that may still trigger thoughts and responses, although I could not lash out a lot of times. Sometimes I be having my weak moments. And I know people
mhm,
say, well, we're human. Well,
mhm.
Christ came on earth to show us what's possible. And so I
Yeah,
believe that. I believe
that's it.
that that's possible. And so I'm going to do whatever work inside of me to be able to walk like him, because that's my ultimate goal, bro. So,
That's it, bro.
bro, thank you so much for
That's
this conversation, brother. This
man.
conversation was so refreshing and great.
This was good, bro.
Yeah,
This was good.
this
It was
was
good. I think I mean, my gosh, man. I knew we were going to talk, touch on a little, family life. I think about 5% of this was about real estate. Not even five, maybe 2%. This was about this life talk right here, bro.
And
This life talk right here.
this is what the man cave talk is really about. Like we have
Mhm,
a lot of entrepreneurship
mhm.
podcasts, and we got business podcasts, and so if you want to learn about that, go over there. I wanted to
Yeah,
create a space for men who were
yeah,
great and doing things that we want to model in our marriages, and also to help some of the guys who don't really have a plan or don't know how to not close that disconnect that they feel in their marriage. And so that's what the Man Cave Talk podcast is really about, is to talk about life, because being able to manage business and marriage and all of that, like who teaches us how to do that, right? And so
Ooh.
just creating the space, brother, to be able to help men, to help them with the things that I needed to take 2.5 years, 3 years to really try to figure out and just provide value, bro. So I'm seeing way too many of the brothers um, get a divorce, and it just hurts my heart. It hurts my heart,
Yeah,
and being having gone through it before, I just don't wish it on anyone. So that's where I could provide value, and I feel a conviction from God to step up in this space and to be a vessel. So here it is, man. Here it is.
man. So grateful for you, brother, and everything that you're doing, man. And it's so funny that you say that because I heard this statistically that from the time of the pandemic to now, divorce rates were at an all-time high.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of it, man, I promise you, man, I'm not, thank God for social media. It can be utilized as a tool, it can be utilized as an asset, but it also can be utilized as a sword that will destroy you if it's
Hundred
not
percent.
properly put in the right perspective, man. And a lot of us, you just talked about it. You said, I'm striving to be more like God.
Mm-hmm.
But what we as men do, we're trying to be more like God without God.
Mm.
You follow what I'm saying? We trying to be more like God without God, meaning we not spending any time with him. We're not opening up his book. You know what I mean? We're not going to go get our spiritual nourishment, you know what I mean, amongst, on Sundays, whenever the church,
Yeah.
open up his
Yeah.
doors. We again trying to be like God without God. And then social media is putting a lot of people in a position to where they listening to all these people. And here's the thing, me and you ain't mentioned nothing today about how much money we got, none of that stuff. All
Don't
that
need to.
stuff is illusion. That stuff is will get you put in a box before your time. And I talk to people about that so much, man. That's why I love what you're doing, bro. And that's why I say my respect and my love for you has grown so much greater because my one of my sayings I tell people all the time, you can't fix your bank account without fixing your thinking first.
Nah. Nah.
You need to fix your thinking before you can fix your bank account because even if you fix your bank account and don't fix your thinking, you're going to end up in the same place, whether it's a month from now, a year from now, or 5 years from now.
Yes,
Trust
sir.
me.
Yes,
Somebody
sir.
went from having contracted company, 12 employees to end up in a hotel room, bro.
Jeez.
Like it'd be cool if it was just me, but to be there with my wife, my queen,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
boys, they looking at me like, and they didn't care at the time because we making, they kids. Like they looking at like, hey, we got the pool downstairs, a little vacation for us. We on
Yeah.
vacation.
Yeah.
New place, we right. So they ain't really know. I'm
Right.
going, we playing wars, behind the beds. We got two beds. I'm on one side of the bed, my boys, one of my other three boys on the other side, my other son over
Yep.
here, we playing Nerf wars. Right. So it's like at the end of the day, man, you gotta understand that the money and everything that everybody is basically putting on this pedestal, that's not really it. And then we go from, you know, claiming that we on this journey of wanting to get closer to God to comparing ourselves amongst ourselves. And then it's
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, but look at what he doing.
Right.
Or look at what he got. And you don't even know, dude. Like half of this stuff is just an illusion, bruh.
It's all
You
it
know what I
is,
mean?
man.
Like half of this stuff that you see it is not even real. And you losing your peace in the process of it. You losing the respect and love for the woman who would have been that one for you, your one, your Ezra. Your kids is losing respect for you all over an illusion, my guy.
Yeah.
That's the part that why I say we need more men like you, man. Love everything you're doing. Whatever I can do to add to the movement, brother, I'm here. I have so much respect for you, man. Dude, you are definitely salute to you, man. Keep shining bright, young king, because you're doing it, man. And I want to be the I know you probably hear it all the time, but I tip my hat off to you, man. Much honor and respect to you, brother. For real,
Man,
man.
I,
I
I
appreciate you.
appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for those kind words. Thank you, Rob. And guys, this was another episode of the TMCT podcast. I hope you guys are gaining value. If you are, I know you are. So, like, subscribe, share, because we want this to go and spread around the world. Thank you guys. Until next time, peace.